Louis, have your man go with Mr. Laszlo and take care of his luggage.
Certainly, Rick. Anything you say. Find Mr. Laszlo's luggage and put it on the plane.
Yes, sir. This way, please.
If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That'll make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Victor Laszlo.
But why my name, Richard?
Because you're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you? Last night
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no,
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here? 9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
As the days shot by, I was fortunate to get a ride for Cindy, and as we drove to pick her up, my heart was racing and sweat built up on my brow. For the first time in months, I was silent and bashful on the ride back. We didn't say much during the drive, both lost in our own thoughts. When we got back to the house, Cindy went in to take a shower while I sat on the patio having a smoke break, wondering how to breach the tough subject. She joined me a few minutes later with a strange look on her face. I put my bag in your room and noticed that there are some things missing. What happened to the poems and letters I wrote you? She asked, sipping her soda. I burned them, I said, looking directly at her. Can I ask why? She questioned, reaching over the table. It's the Jefferson in me, I answered, passing a slice of pizza over. You lost me on that part. What do you mean? Thomas Jefferson burned all his personal letters, keeping his life secret and leaving only his professional writing to the world, I explained. How about all the stuffed animals I bought you, too? She asked, concerned. Crossbow targets, I replied. The rings and necklaces, she asked. Tossed in the ocean, I said, putting dinner away and shifting position. It was at that moment that I decided to lay the cards on the table and plunge into a huge risk, so I took a deep breath and hoped I wouldn't fumble any words. Cindy, it hurt me greatly when we parted ways. I removed the reminders of you so I could move on. I would love to be a part of your life and ask you to come back. However, there is only one condition that I ask. I've always loved you unconditionally. Let it reciprocate. Don't have me change my friends, personality, or things like that. Just accept me for who I am. Cindy looked at me quietly for a few moments, with her hands folded on the table. I'll have to think about this. It might take some time, though, she said at long last. Fair enough, I said, leaving the table to wash the sweat off my hands. We passed the night away with small talk and the occasional joke as well. All good things come to an end, and it was soon time to go to bed. The next morning was going to be an early shift for me, and Cindy had to work in the afternoon. We gave each other a hug, and she walked into the guest room while I went to my desk instead for a quick writing moment, and placed a rose on the nightstand before going to sleep in my room. The next morning, Cindy kissed me on the cheek and squeezed her hand. We opened the door and walked out into the day. Although it was a beautiful sunny morning, my heart was heavy as we approached the bus stop. I'm not going to call and hassle you for a while. There are a couple lectures coming up. Take care of yourself, I said as the bus arrived. I always like it when you call, though. What about our talk last night? Cindy asked, holding my hand for a moment. We'll always have Paris. You know how I feel, but it would be foolish for me to chase after you like a maniac if you need time to think. Cindy looked at me as the doors opened. Our hands were still entwined as I led her up the step of the bus. Don't look back and cry, que Sarah, I said as I stepped away and lit a cigarette. I waved at the figure outlined in the tinted window until the beeping of a car horn called my attention. Scott and my friend Lance had showed up to take me to work. I waited until the bus passed down the road before riding with them. For almost 2 weeks, my mind was wrapped up between the lectures and work until once again there came a phone call. I was wondering if you're free tonight. I'd like to see you, Cindy said. I could tell by the tone of her voice that she had been crying and also seemed frustrated. Although I made plans to be out at Duncan and then the pool hall, my agenda changed much to the chagrin of my friends. I rushed down to her as fast as legally possible. She was standing in the parking lot watching the oncoming traffic until she spotted me. We drove down to the beach and ate ice cream, listening to the waves in silence. Cindy looked at me for a few moments and opened her mouth, but the words never came out. She waited a minute and tried again. I'm having issues between my sister and Mom. I've got to get out of here before this drives me crazier. Once again, subtle clues were given and ignored as I took Cindy's hand to comfort her. She leaned over and kissed me passionately. I backed away for a moment and apologized. What for? She asked, worried. I'd be taking advantage of you being frustrated, and I don't want this to affect your decision, I said. How can it do that when my choice was made? She asked, almost laughing. Let's put this another way. I'm here, aren't I? She said, giving in to the laughter. For the entire night, we held each other close, and when I drove home, Cindy sat beside me smiling. I started walking towards my room and kissed her good night, but was surprised when she followed me. Can we finish what we've been doing for a little while longer? She asked, climbing into bed. I followed her line of thought and soon climbed under the covers where the rest of the night was passed in each other's arms.